Good morning, everybody. Wake up.
Wake up, wake up.
In Provincetown. This week featuring
Wake up, wake up.
Can I have some coffee?
Wake up, wake up.
Make it strong, please. Hey! Ho! Hey!
Wake up, wake up.
Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, October 21st. This is Wake Up in Provincetown. My name's Bob Curie.
My name's Harrison Fish. Sorry.
It's his birthday.
It is my birthday.
We're gonna let him behave however he wants today. Not like he doesn't always
Yeah,
that
should be every day.
Who do we got on the show today, Harry?
So you sat down with some friends from Fantasia Fair.
I did. I got to meet some of the ladies that are here for Fantasia Fair / Transgender Week. Tonight is the Follies, by the way. Did you get to go to the fashion show on Wednesday?
No, I didn't.
So for every Fantasia Fair, there's a big fashion show on Wednesday. The Follies is on Friday night, tonight, obviously. And that's like the talent show. And those are the two big sort of open to the public events that they do for everybody. And the proceeds from tonight's Follies will go to a local nonprofit as per usual.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know.
I've gone in years past. It's always so much fun.
I've never been able to go to the Follies. I've been to the fashion show before. Tomorrow night is their private gala.
Cute.
As they all say goodbye to each other. I love the summer camp aspect of it.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, some of them like, oh, it's my 6th year, it's my 4th year. You know, some of my friends that I met, you know, we come back year after year to see each other here. It's really sweet.
Yeah.
And these were just some really moving stories that I think you guys will enjoy a lot.
I love that. Yeah. We also have Jeremy Hobson coming in to talk about his new podcast, The Middle.
It is a Wednesday night live call-in radio program.
Yeah, there's going to be 4 of them. The first one was this past Wednesday. There's going to be 3 more, all featuring a city in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're Wednesdays at 9 Eastern, and obviously local time for wherever in the middle he happens to be. This first episode, he was back in his hometown.
I love that.
Of Champaign-Urbana, Illinois. I might have gotten that wrong. When he arrives, we can ask him.
Perfect.
But I love that he decided to go back home to do the first one.
It's very cute. Yeah.
That's fun.
I think it was like his first. I think he was in the same studio as he first. I think.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
And he had a co-host. This time it was Pulitzer Prize winner Philip Bailey helping him take the calls, and
Cute.
it's a cool format.
Yeah, definitely. And I think lifting up people's, so often media uses people's voice to incite reaction. And I feel like this is kind of just like, let's really see what people are saying, really just spread their message rather than picking and choosing what is going to rile up someone or upset someone or so.
And they said at the outset, they were like, we may not all agree with each other over the next hour, but let's maintain civility.
Yeah. And I think when it comes down to it, our goals are all more similar than they are different.
I think so.
Yeah.
How was your week?
It was cute. It's also Roundup weekend, since we're
It
talking
is.
about the weekend. Yeah. Roundup is Provincetown's sober gathering weekend, and it's always fun. Yeah. I've got a group of Rounduppers staying above me, and they had a gathering yesterday. It was really cute. They're playing Celebrity. And,
fun.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Cakes and pie. Yeah. It's a good weekend.
It is a good weekend, even though it is currently 46 degrees outside.
Is it that cold?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
My sister, who's in Dover, Delaware, she texted me a couple days ago. She goes, it's going to be 30 here tonight. I'm like, it's not even that cold here.
Well, we tend to be behind, the leaves just started changing. Where in most other places, they're fully changing and starting to fall.
Right.
Last week, it was still fully green here.
I know, but I love that.
Yeah, me too. But I mean, it also, the flip side is that in the spring, it takes longer for the trees to come back. I love when it's mid to late May and I drive up Cape, I'm like, there's leaves here, where we don't have those yet.
We're marching to the beat of our own drum out here in Provincetown.
Yeah, we do our own thing.
We're on our own schedule. Small universe, insular world, bubble.
Yeah.
It's a bubble. So, what did you do?
My week was really fun. After the show, last week I worked here at the brewery and then did a quick change, and then me and my friend Benji had a joint birthday party. It was kind of halfway between his and my birthday. It was well before mine, obviously a week before, but it was tons of fun. Benji is spending his winter at the De Groot Mansion. It's very gay. It's very gay gardens, if you will. Mm-hmm. It's like a very opulent mansion that's like
Needs a little TLC.
Needs a little TLC
in the roofage.
Yeah, it was that morning. If you remember last week, it was pretty blustery and rainy that morning.
Torrential.
And the thing about a lot of places on the water, if the wind typically blows from the north in Provincetown, and every once in a while the winds will shift and blow from the south. And if it's raining, like that's when we get leakage at the Red Inn, and that's the same thing that happened last Friday. And we had a little leakage at the Red Inn, from what I saw, and the De Groot Mansion, they used all their pots and pans. Yeah. But the party was a festive gathering. A bunch of people came to celebrate. Our friend Evan baked us a cake, fully with concealed jockstrap within the cake.
A real jockstrap?
He baked a jockstrap into the cake.
Evan did that?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I was trying to get someone to put it on, but it was covered in cake. So that didn't actually happen. But it was a ton of fun.
But then you could eat cake off of whoever's cake is wearing.
That's true. Maybe I should have pushed a little harder.
It's your birthday. People will do what you say.
That's true.
Do you want your present now or later?
I don't know. Let's talk about our weeks more. We'll do it after, in the break, in the middle.
Suspense.
Yeah. How was your week? You got up to some fun stuff.
Yeah, so last Sunday, October 16th, was my and Peter's first wedding anniversary, which we decided to celebrate at the returned Oyster Festival in Wellfleet.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed.
Why?
Well, I didn't realize that. I knew they had changed location, but I didn't realize that they had changed kind of the format and the way entrance would be done and ticketing.
Yeah.
Before, it was like a pay at the door kind of thing, like you arrive, you pay, you go in. And I didn't realize that they had switched to like pre-sale tickets. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go to Oyster Fest tomorrow. And Bob was like, oh, do you have tickets? I was like, no. And he's like, it's sold out.
It did. The Saturday event sold out like weeks in advance, and Sunday was at least a week beforehand. I don't know if they're going to do that again next year. I think they think that it worked.
Yeah.
They are going to go back to the original location next year.
Oh, why?
I don't know. I think that was just like the general consensus. People were like, oh, we miss, I liked it where it was, but also it was in a field. I can't remember the name of the field, Bakersfield or something like that. And because of all the recent rain, it was a little like, like a little soft underfoot.
Yeah.
Not like wet, but just like,
Yeah.
But it definitely
it probably had more of like a country fair kind of vibe because of that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like the perimeter was lined with tents and porta potties and stuff. Cute. And then the center was.
I mean, from my understanding, the reason they wanted it to be ticketed was kind of do a little bit of crowd control because it becomes too big for that space.
Oh, absolutely.
I wonder why they don't just like expand.
Right.
I'm not saying they're not smart enough to do something like that, but I'm sure there's limitations. But I feel like it'd be cool if maybe they did like both locations. And then you had like this is where this happens and this is where this happens, and you kind of do a little of both.
It's kind of how it felt. Like back where it normally happens, we went there first to park our car. It's like a 10 to 15 minute walk to where the field is. And so the restaurants that are usually like super, super slammed were still completely full.
Oh, that's killer.
In a way that was like enjoyable and like more like a normal service day for the people who are working. I'm like, oh, look, she's serving chowder to a table, which she couldn't do like in normal times.
Oh, so it kind of did have the dual location aspect to it.
For anybody that didn't mind walking that 10 minutes.
Yeah. It's because like it's like, I'm sure people didn't want to break their tradition of like going to Oyster Fest and then going to that tavern there, Winslow Tavern. Like you still want to do that. Like, oh, we always go to Winslow Tavern for Oyster Fest, so like they still were able to do that. It's cool.
Yeah, it was a really good time. And then that night we came back and had a little anniversary dinner at the bar at the Red Inn for that $40 prefix thing.
I love that.
This is the last week, you guys. We only have 1 week left of work.
Yeah, I had it last night and I might have broken the rules a little and ordered the filet.
That's on there, isn't it?
No, I know, but I still don't think we're supposed to order it as our shift meal.
Oh, you were working.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it as a worker.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
But I'll make up for it by saying it was so delicious. And for $40 to get a 6-ounce filet, an appetizer and a dessert, or even 2 appetizers in lieu of dessert, that is a good deal.
Some friends came to sit at the bar on whatever night I worked, Tuesday, Monday, and they were like, we saw your Instagram story. This can't be real. A $40 3-course dinner. And I was like, yeah. And they were like, do people know about this? I was like, well, you just found out. And they were like, this is the best deal in town. I was like, tell all of your friends.
Tell your friends, come visit.
We have Sunday through Thursday of this week to do it. And then poof, it's over on October 30th.
Me and Bob will be behind the bar on Tuesday night. Come visit, get your $40 prefix.
Yeah, come on in and say hi. No, so last Sunday was really fun. worked all week. You had trivia on Monday?
Yeah, I'm going to talk more about Oyster Fest. So I got the breakdown of how the event went. So there's an oyster shucking contest. And I kind of didn't really know the details of it. So oyster shuckers start with 26 oysters and then are allowed to pick 2 to throw out. What do you think that's based on?
Based on
shape?
It's the way that they cut it. So they're like, this is a bad shape for my hand.
Interesting. So you're allowed to reject 2, and then you're allowed to arrange the oysters however you'd like. Some people do like a circle. Some people do like stack them a little. But the guy who ended up winning literally like threw them in a pile.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, oh, I don't need that.
Ooh, daring. I mean, he won.
Yeah,
He
so
knew what he was doing.
you're timed to shuck 24 oysters, and then there are time penalties based on whether you broke any shells, there's shells still in the oyster, or if the oysters aren't entirely detached. Because you want to open the shell and then detach the oyster so you can slip. Yeah. I hate when I'm always like trying to look cool doing oysters, and then I'm like,
Yeah, they're not always detached.
no, not always, but yeah. The fastest shucker, Ben Morgan, ended up being in second place by 1 second. He was fastest by, I think, about 10 seconds, but ended up 1 second behind due to penalties.
Faster but sloppier. He didn't display them?
Because
He was faster but sloppier.
Yeah. But that's one of my favorite events. People get so into it, and it like there's like a rock star status to it all.
Yeah, I think the guy that won it's his 3rd time in 10 years.
Yep.
He's like has been a returning champion before. Congratulations.
Did you eat a lot of oysters while you were there?
No, I had 2.
Oh.
I go for like the
barely a fest.
lobster corn dogs, 3 different kinds of chowder.
Lobster corn dogs?
Oh yeah, they
What does
didn't
that
actually
even
have
mean?
them this year. They take like a strip of lobster meat, batter it like a corn dog, fry, and then it's on a stick like a corn dog, but instead of a hot dog inside, it's lobster.
That's amazing.
And I had promised, like all the people, it is so bougie. But all the people that came for the first time with me were like, "Where's the corn dog tent?" And they didn't do it.
Oh.
They didn't have it this year. Supply chain, pandemic, blah blah blah. You know, things that are time consuming have kind of gone away a little bit.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a time consuming thing
Oh,
to
I'm
make.
sure. But like pretty much, you should try to do it over the winter.
Okay.
Make your own corn dogs.
It feels a little bit like gilding the lily to me. I'm like, do we really need to do that to a lobster tail?
Do whatever.
I know. But
Gilding the lily, I feel like it's the opposite.
really?
It's like, because it's not,
Pearls on swine?
yeah, something like that.
Yeah. It'll probably be back next year when they move it back to where it normally
Yeah.
happens, hopefully.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll be able to make it a little bigger. They'll probably still do the ticketing thing, I imagine, because they feel like it worked well.
Yeah, I think like typically they get 15,000 people and they only sold 7,000 tickets. So they were like, it'll be half as crammed. And it was, you know, you could move about freely.
That's
You didn't have to wait as long for like beers and chowders.
It does get a little weighty
Yeah.
in the past. Like half hour to get some food, but whatever. Yeah, I hosted trivia on Monday with the Baroness. It was tons of fun.
Who's the Baroness?
I'm not sure I only referred to them as the Baroness the whole night, so I'm not sure their
You
actual
never
name.
met the actual.
No, I had never met him before, but it was tons of fun. They did a really fun round. It was all on spooky Provincetown, so all about like ghosts and ghost stories within Provincetown. I don't know how he knew all that, but like it was like specific names of specific ghosts from specific locations in town. It's
That's
really
a
cool.
deep dive.
Yeah, it was really fun, really interesting. I learned a lot, tons of fun. Then this past Tuesday and Wednesday, I did something really fun for the first time ever. I don't know if y'all know, but Marco Calvani's movie, The Best Place in the World, wrapped this past Wednesday. They've been filming in town for about a month. Marco Calvani's been on our show before. He's truly a sweetheart. And I was offered a very small role in the movie, and I filmed that over Tuesday and Wednesday. All my scenes were at the A House. It was fun. I played man in drag. I think I have some pictures. Yeah. It was tons of fun. It stressed me out immensely because
You were totally stressed out.
I was really stressed out. It's just like something I had never done. But I had my look together. I put my look together myself. I thought I looked really great. And I actually ended up having to do my makeup myself for the first time, which is not something I was confident in doing. But I was very proud of what I was able to do, considering it was my first time doing my own makeup. So the shoot days were Tuesday and Wednesday, but they're like, oh, we're going to do all your scenes in one day, so you don't have to worry about it. And then everything ran late. And then they were like, just come back tomorrow, looking exactly like this. I was like, okay. But it was a lot of fun. It was obviously a new experience to me, and often people would ask me questions and I'd be like, I don't know what that means. They're like, oh, you're team 1, right? I'm like, team. I'm like, I didn't know I was on a team. I never got a jersey. But it was fun and interesting.
It's a lot of sitting around and waiting.
Yeah. Because they're trying to cram so much stuff in, jumping around. I did end up sitting in full drag in a room for about 6 hours waiting for my scene to get done, which was a challenge, but I understand. It's like, that's how it all works. Yeah, one of the biggest takeaways is like the film industry, especially obviously like union things, they take COVID very seriously still. Mm-hmm. Like everyone was entirely masked unless you were on camera. They COVID tested every single person as they arrived on set, mm-hmm. Which I think it caused like a few issues just because like people get COVID, and when you're planning on filming a whole day with a person and then they have COVID that morning, it's like,
Yep.
Yeah. But it was great, so much fun. I looked fabulous. After, not if I just say so myself, after filming on the second day, they did my scene fairly quickly, and I was out at about 7:30. So I figured, I'm like, I gotta go strut around town a little. So I did make it to Halo at Cafe Heaven. You were there.
Halo was a good time.
It was a good time, and it was fun being. It's fun being out in drag. Mm-hmm. You get a lot of.
You were the only one in the whole room in drag.
Well, duh. On a random Wednesday in October. But it was tons of fun.
Good.
Yeah.
Did you get to meet Marissa Tomei?
No, I did not. So one of my scenes was kind of, I was outside and then the camera does my little scene and then it pans inside, and Marco was out with me with the monitor, and then like as soon as the camera went inside, he like kind of came over and stood with me so I could watch the monitor, and I was like, Marco, that looks like a movie. And he's like, yeah,
he knows what he's doing.
That's the point. That's what we're trying to do here.
Was Judy Greer in the movie?
No, but I did see her in town yesterday. Yeah. I live for Judy Greer.
Hi, Judy Greer, if you're still in town.
She was at the Red Inn, and I wanted her to walk by just so I could go, are you cool? Are you cool? Are you cool?
What's that from?
Jawbreaker.
Oh, she was in Jawbreaker?
Duh.
Oh my God.
She played the... when she becomes cool, and that's the song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, she played Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter in the new Halloween trilogy.
Oh, no way. Yeah. I didn't know that.
I mean, she bit it in the second one, but...
No, it's funny. You. I'm sure people know her from 1,000 other things, but I mostly is like Arrested Development.
Oh, totally.
And Jawbreaker.
Yeah.
That's just like, those are the impact she's had on my life.
Thanks for coming to say hi, Judy.
Yeah. She's at the Reddit?
No, just to town.
Yeah.
The fact that she's even here.
Yeah,
and not in the movie that was being shot here.
Yeah.
That's what I'm like. Maybe she's like best gal pals with Marissa Tomei or something.
That'd be cute.
Right?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. Should we show one of your interviews?
Yeah. So Mark and I got to sit down with some of the ladies that are here for Fantasia Fair to hear some of their personal stories. And, you know, Fantasia Fair has been happening since 1975. It is definitely transitioning to become a little more inclusive. Mm-hmm. You'll hear a lot about it in this clip. Fantasia Fair, the first one was in 1975. This is widely regarded as the oldest and longest running transgender function in the world.
Yes.
And how is it changing? I know that now, we were just talking a second ago, it's also known as Transgender Week.
Yes.
And Fantasia Fair.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And there's a roundup for Alcoholics Anonymous going on, which is also keying into this Transgender Week thing.
Roundup is at the same time?
Well, it's this weekend.
It's this weekend, yeah.
Oh, wow.
How it has changed is in the beginning it was mostly about cross-dressers. You know, men needed to have that 1 week a year where they can get out and just, you know, be themselves on the streets, which is something that's not easy for a lot of us. But it has evolved. It includes everybody under that transgender umbrella now. So we have trans men here, we have trans women, we have, you know, non-binaries, and, you know, so there's a lot that's going on this week with the Transgender Week. So it's evolved. And we're trying to include a lot more younger folks in there, what's going on for them as well. So.
Well, Rhonda was just telling me that she lives out back home.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that most of the people that come here are able to do that, or is this a place where they feel safer?
It's hard to give a number like that, but certainly the people that are here feel safer.
Yes, they do. They do come here because they know they can feel safe and be, accepted. They can feel themselves or be themselves and not worry about anything. I mean, there's some outrageous outfits sometimes, and I'm going, wow, they really want to express themselves. So yes, and they feel safe here to do that. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
And you were saying that your own personal story, you've been going through this just for a few years in a way that is like applying to your everyday life.
There's a difference between being transgender and deciding to transition. Okay, I've been transgender all my life and suffered for it, but I decided to transition 3 years ago. It's like you turn on a switch and everything changes.
Right. And you had to say goodbye to your family.
No, they say goodbye to me.
Are you finding a new family
Oh yeah,
out here?
yeah. Good morning. So yes, very definitely. I mean, this is one of the places where you can meet people who are going through the same experience. But I've also met people back at home. I'm also a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I have, met people, transgender people, through that mechanism as well.
And you're still in Acton.
Yes,
I mean, is it hard to remain there? Is your family still there?
yes. I specifically moved to a place that was close so that if they ever do need me, I'm there.
That's so hard. I'm sorry to like bring up a touchy subject.
It's a struggle we have to work through, and once we made our decision, we understand the consequences as well. So it's just difficult, but you end up making a lot more new friends too.
Yeah.
Being who you are, you feel more natural and more alive sometimes. So it hasn't been a real drawback as much as I thought it was. Actually. As for me, it's losing my family is one thing. My brothers and sisters are not crazy about this. My one sister is all on board with it. But I also find a lot of my nieces and nephews, they understand because they come up, they're younger and they do understand. And like I said, we made a lot of new friends. So it's wonderful, actually. So it feels good.
She was saying that this is only her second year, and a lot of the people she met last year didn't come back.
It happens, yeah. And I'm surprised because this year we got a lot of new folks too. So I think what we're trying to do is get it to roll in. So a lot of younger folks are coming up here, and there's a reason for them to be here too. It does happen. I mean, some people get on that pink cloud, and then when they get home, it dissipates on them, and they just decided that's not what they want to do anymore. I don't know.
It's like summer camp though. It's like you're hoping to see some of your friends every year that you come back.
Wow. Yeah, it's true.
Some do and some don't.
Yeah.
Nice. And so what happens on Saturday?
On Saturday is the gala, and actually before that is the actual awards presentation. There's several awards we give out. There's the Pioneer Awards to someone who embodies the fair and did well. There's another like most helpful award for, and it's just people. Some of us get to vote on it. The attendees get to vote on one or two of those awards and say, hey, who's most helpful for you this week? Another fairgoer, I did win it myself in 2019, or 2018 actually. And I brought my son with me the second year I came up. And he won the Congeniality Award, like the first fair he came to, and he wins. I'm going, how's that possible? But if you met my son, you would understand. He's a trans man, and he really enjoys this and coming up. He's involved with the Follies. He's involved with the fashion show, and he's involved in quite a few things up here. He's actually on the planning committee now for Fantasia Fair. And his job is to help find more trans men and trans presenters to come in that can explain, what's going on for them in their lives. We just don't want this all to be trans women. We want the trans men here too as well. So, and he's done that. He's bringing in some really interesting people. But then again, on Saturday is the gala dance and banquet dinner. We all dress to the nines for that one. That's a gown night kind of thing, and it's a lot of fun. It's exciting for us.
Is that here at the Crown and Anchor?
Yes, it is. It's a Paramount.
And the Follies as well back there.
That's true.
That's open to the public. Like people can come and buy tickets.
Yes.
And where does the money go?
the money goes back into our accounts right now, and then we distribute it out to other areas. Some of the money actually goes back into the town, if I remember right, and I'll have to talk to Dee, but each year we find somebody we can say, hey, we're going to give you a donation. You know, one year I remember it was somebody who was helping homeless here in P-Town. I forget who that was, but I mean, it was well appreciated.
We were saying on the show last week, we're like, Fantasia Fair is one of the few week-long events in town where they do give back to the community. Not to slam other weeks, but Fantasia Fair is well known for paying it forward back into the
Paying
community.
forward, yeah.
And we really appreciate that.
And some of the money also goes to scholarships. There are many folks who can't make this because of money, and they can apply for a scholarship, and then we can get them up here. So that's one of the big things.
Personally, I think one of the problems that Fantasia Fair has is, you know, it is fairly expensive to come here, and the younger people can't afford it as easily.
Right.
So it tends to be older people who are more financially established.
But it sounds like it's becoming more inclusive every year.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. We want it to be more inclusive. That's very important to us because we know that's how the fair is going to grow and stay, you know, relevant to everybody as well. Because, you know, it's not just about the old days of cross-dressing men. It's just about anything under the transgender umbrella. So, pretty much.
Well, have fun this week. Have fun on Friday, especially being spectators. I'm so mad that you're not performing. Perform!
You know, last minute sometimes they grab me and says, Sybil, we need somebody, please fill in for us. And then next thing you know, I'm out there on the stage too. So it does happen, and that's fine because I've been there, I know what to do. So it's not like they have to put me through the ropes or something like that. So,
I did go to open mic last year, but I didn't have to perform. It just was something that was true for me, and I just talked about it. So I can do that, but performing,
Thank you for making some time this morning.
Thank you.
It was really nice to meet you too.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you too.
Thank you. I'll see you later.
Okay.
all right, thank you.
I want to thank Sybil and Rhonda for sitting down and talking to me for a couple of minutes and sharing their stories. And we got a few other Fantasia Fair ladies coming up later on in the show, but we have to do a couple of things first. You know what? So we do this birthday call, and it is the birthday of someone very, very important to me, who I love very, very much. And hopefully they pick up. Hopefully they know that we do this. So hopefully they're waiting for their phone to ring and aware of what's going on. How old are you today?
Oh my God.
Bob Carey.
Happy birthday, John Bosco!
Oh, thank you, Bob Carey.
Don't you want to say happy birthday?
Happy birthday, John. My birthday twin.
Harrison, happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
More importantly, happy birthday to you.
Oh, that's right. It's Harrison's birthday, too. We love you, Bosco. Have a good one.
What are you doing to celebrate?
I'm sitting here with Nick J in Barcelona. We're having a tapas and a spritzer right now.
You're in
Thank you for picking
Barcelona
up
having
and
tapas?
Stop it.
Yeah, we just got here today, and I'll be back in P-Town. Well, I don't know, but I'll be back on Sunday.
Excellent.
What time is it there?
It is it's spritzer time, so it's 3:30.
Oh, wow.
Spitzer time.
Spritzer time.
Yeah.
Have fun in Spain and safe travels. We'll see you when you get home.
Thank you guys.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Thanks for picking up.
Happy birthday, Harrison.
Happy birthday, John.
Bye.
They picked up in Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Can you believe it?
it?
Stop it. Happy birthday, Harry. It occurred to me after I ordered this that you might already have it. If you don't, just act like you, or if you do, just act like you don't.
Okay.
I saw this and I instantly thought of you.
Cute.
I hope you like
Me
it.
too.
Display it proudly.
I'm sure. Such a good wrapping job.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Diva Worship, the Book of Gay Religions.
It's every page is a different diva and why we worship them.
Oh my God, I love this.
And like my Mount Rushmore are like basically 4 pages in a row. Like he did a really good job on this book.
Yeah, this is Rob Anderson, who's on Instagram and TikTok as the Heartthrob
Anderson.
Yeah. He's super funny. Is All Mine in here?
You're gonna have to find out.
Let's see, Lady
Also, you
Gaga,
don't have the book yet.
Beyonce, Rihanna, and Ariana. Mine are all in there.
There you go.
I love that. Oh my god, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I love this. I can't wait
Cute,
to
right?
peruse.
I think he's on tour. I would definitely go see him do
yeah,
stand-up.
he's fun.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday.
Thank you. I have a bit of news. First, there's so much stuff going on this week in the week leading up to Halloween. Let's see. Tomorrow night at the former Stowaway, there's a Summer of Sass open house. They just took over that property that is going to be used to house Summer of Sass people. So you can stop by between 4 and 8 tomorrow to check out the space, say hi to everyone. Ethan, you're going to be there to greet people. Yeah, love that. Say hi to one of our favorite crew members, Ethan. So that's tomorrow 4 to 8. Also, Summer of Sass is there's a fundraiser for them at the Harbor Lounge this Sunday. It's Night of 1,000 Stevies. So get your favorite like jingly shawl and go hang out. Support Summer of Sass. Let's see what else. Ooh, Frank, which is a Rocky Horror show, is happening next Wednesday and Thursday. There's a very good chance that I'm going to be in it, but we'll see.
The cast is spectacular. Yeah, your name's already on the poster.
I told Trevor he should have put a question mark after. But it's going to be tons of fun. There's a ton of really incredible local performers. Ryan Landry, Joao Santos, Liza-Lot McKenzie.
Boy Radio?
Brittany Rawls, Boy Radio, who's part of the producing team. Yeah, it's going to be killer.
That's at the Paramount?
Yeah. It's going to be at the Crown and Anchor. Also at the Crown and Anchor next week, the Generations Project is doing their annual storytelling. This year's theme is all about the bohemian lifestyle. That's happening this Thursday at the Crown and Anchor. And also, this upcoming Tuesday, there's a PBG event happening at the Post Office Cabaret. It's going to be Casey Wells and Dirk Kaber. Casey Wells is a gay erotic fiction writer. She's really good friends with Dirk Kaber, and I think she gets inspiration from his life. So she's going to be doing a live reading of some of her stories, and I think that's going to be a ton of fun. Dirk Kaber is going to join her to kind of chit-chat about the process and everything. So
the process.
Yeah, the process. Yeah.
Wait, Dirk Kaber is a porn star, right?
Yes.
I think he's the one on that meme that's going around where it's like, we gays get to choose our own families. It's like the families we choose, and it's a Dirk Kaber movie called Sun Swap.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear about the shooting of the film Sun Swap.
Yeah.
When is this event?
That is Tuesday.
Tuesday? Okay.
Also, tomorrow evening at Shipwreck Lounge, Dorinda Medley is going to be there doing a fundraiser for helping our women. It is called A Night at Bluestone Haunted Manor. They're going to be serving her Bluestone Manor whiskey that's owned by Dorinda Medley. It's tomorrow night, 7 to 11. Tickets are $150. But if you mention Wake Up, $50 tickets, Trevor? Wake Up promo code, $50 tickets. So, yeah. What? Yeah, so all $50 of those tickets, if you use the Wake Up promo code, the $50 will go directly to helping our women. So go. It's going to be a ton of fun. Dorinda's a blast. She's a cast member on The Real Housewives of New York. So there might be like wine throwing. They should do a wine throwing contest.
Or a wine drinking contest, like a pie eating contest.
No, do you know like at the carnival when you go and you have to like throw the ball in a bucket? They should have cups like put on the board. And you have to like throw wine into the cups.
Wine toss.
Yeah, wine toss. So there's tons of stuff going on this week. Get here. Let's see what else I got. There is some local news I've got going on. Let's see. We did Oyster Fest. If you missed the P-Town Bookshop, which used to be across from the Crown and Anchor in the space that is currently Hennep, which is a marijuana dispensary, you're going to be excited to hear that they found a new space and they will be returning. Rumors it's going to be open by the end of the month.
Really?
Yeah.
Where's the new space?
So the new space is in the Soft as a Grape space. Do you know that like side on the right that used to have sea bags in it? And it's going to be the new home of the P-Town Bookshop. So that closed in June of 2021, and then it was bought by Barbara Clark in September of 2021. She expects to be open by the end of the month. She is a founder and president of the Impact Seat, which is an organization that invests in companies either owned or led by women, and particularly women of color and LGBTQ plus women. She's also an investor in the the old Reliable project. So that's probably how she got that space, which is now owned by the same woman who is doing the old Reliable space. So yeah, I'm excited to see the bookstore back.
Welcome back, Provincetown Bookshop.
Also, at town meeting, they're talking about a short-term rental study. They're basically the town is going to hire a company to study the effects of short-term rentals on the housing market here in Provincetown, how it affects seasonal renters, how it affects year-round renters, and basically this is to inform them to decide what articles should be introduced into our next town meeting to try and like mitigate the problem. What's so funny?
He's laughing because just ask us.
No,
just
I know.
ask people that live and work here. Is that what? Yeah, I'll do the study. Here it is right now. This is the study. These are the results. It's fucking shit up.
Yeah.
Period. The end.
There was talk about, so this company had already done a study like this in Nantucket, and their findings were interesting because they said that short-term rentals are unlikely to affect the amount of affordable housing available for on-island residents because properties used for short-term rentals tend to cost more than the medium home. And I feel like that's kind of like, oh, it's like this, that's why it's not affecting it, but like it's affecting it in the way that is how it's affecting it.
It made it that way.
Exactly. Like I've always said here in Provincetown, I posted this on a community space post, which is like always a mistake because I immediately got eaten alive because people didn't understand what I was saying. Or like people on there are so dumb that they think because they don't understand what I'm saying because they're dumb, they think it means I'm dumb. You know? You know when people are so dumb, they think smart people are dumb because they don't understand?
Yeah.
Like, because they don't understand, they think that person's dumb.
The Republican Party.
Oh, come on. Let's not paint with too broad a stroke, Andrew.
So basically, it's like these homes, the value of these homes used to be predicated on how much you could afford to live and work in town while owning these homes, or they used to be based on how much you could rent it per month to someone who lives in town. Now, home values are based on how much you can rent it per week. So saying these homes are worth more than the median value, they're worth more than the median value because the values are now based not on how much it is to rent it to people like me and the people who live in town, but it's based on how much you can rent it by the week, therefore inflating the cost.
Right. I mean, let's get a different person to do the study.
Well, sure.
Sorry.
But they are...
Nantucket's fine.
Leslie Sandberg and
We don't want
Alex...
to be Nantucket, do we? Do we want to be Nantucket?
No.
I'd rather be Provincetown.
There are some cool things happening in Nantucket. Short. Alex Morse did say that the way the questions are asked can have a significant effect on the answers you receive, which is like they're basically kind of saying that like we're going to ask questions to make sure that they don't get to do things like that. You know what I mean? Be like, oh, like it's about like you could ask how it's affecting property values rather than using property value as a way to say that it's not affecting it.
Right.
Yeah. But that's exciting. Hopefully they don't come back and be like, it's not. And then we're like, oh, we don't have to do anything anymore, which is a fear.
I am foretelling that this is what is going to happen. I kind of think that's what's
going to happen because I do feel like there are powers that be in town that their first priority is property value in Provincetown rather than the rich, lush community that we all love. You know?
Yeah. So glad you brought that up.
Me too. Just a couple other quick things in news that happened this past week. Patti LuPone gave up her equity card. Did you see that this had happened? There's an idea that it happened due to I don't know what's the Jennifer Hudson show that she just won the Tony for with Lillias White in it? A Strange Loop?
Yes.
Is that what it's called? So Lillias White, one of the stars of A Strange Loop, basically scolded an audience member for being on their phone in the front row. And she did so during like applause and breaks and things. But what she didn't realize is that person it was a captioning device because they were hard of hearing, which is like not a good look. But I understand people in theater should be, especially if you're going to have that mindset where like, I'm going to yell at people, like you should know that there are situations in which people might have a listening device.
She knows
like
now.
That. She definitely knows now. But she kind of got lambasted. And I think the sensationalism around the whole thing led to Patty wanting to leave. She gave up her equity card. She can still join productions as like a special guest, but not starring or being an actual cast member. She also cited the fact that she feels like Broadway is kind of like lost its what it is. She says it's become Disneyland or Las Vegas, where it's just like they've dumbed down the. She said they dumbed down the audience, where it's like if there's not explosions and crazy stuff, and like people don't want to be interested, and it's having a negative effect on theater itself. So,
I mean, the same thing that's happening to Broadway is happening to like Hollywood. It's like everything is like $1 billion Marvel movie, and like that's what Broadway is now.
Yeah, it's like someone was like, you don't see the movies that were made in the 90s that we all look back at with such nostalgia and such joy, like Pretty Woman, like movies like that just don't get made anymore because there's no guarantee they're going to be $1 billion in sales. Right. Now it's like if Chris Pine's butt isn't in it and he's not a superhero, which I get. I understand. I love Marvel movies. I love them.
Me too.
But
I don't want it to be the only thing that gets made.
It upsets me that it's cannibalizing the rest of the industry.
Right.
Yeah.
I love Patty. Patty, do whatever you want. She originated screaming at people for being on cell phones.
Yeah. Well, she is infamous for this past year screaming at someone for not. I think there's still a rule that if you're in the first few rows, you have to wear a mask just because you're so close to the entertainers, and it could shut down the entire production. She screamed at someone who wasn't doing that. Also, happy Taylor Swift and Carly Rae Jepsen album release day. To all those who observe.
Yeah.
I think that's all I got. Let's do your second video.
All right. Yeah, watch this.
Julie, Laura, thanks so much for making a couple minutes to come talk to me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Bob.
How's your Fantasia Fair going?
Wonderful.
Great. How many have you been to?
This is our fourth.
Fourth in a row, not counting the year that they skipped.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
And you said this is your third.
This is second or third. I think it's the third.
Tell me about that time that you first got to Provincetown, Charlotte, and felt like you were able to really be yourself.
Okay, it was about 10 years ago, and I had kind of locked myself within myself in this rigid binary thing, and I really had to deal with myself. I had been doing volunteer work up to that point, and I came here to Provincetown. I had been to Provincetown before, but to Fantasia to actually wear a dress, to be able to walk out through a door dressed up with someplace to go. And I remember I had a dress I bought that fit me, that I had tried on in the store, and I took it I was staying at the boat slip. I remember walking out the door, and I was terrified. I said, oh shit, am I gonna get shot? Am I gonna get beat up? I gotta really be careful, I gotta look. I walked out, my heart was pounding. I got out the street, and a woman across the street waved across the street and said, how you doing, gorgeous? And then I said, oh my God, okay, don't panic. I turned and I walked down Commercial Street, and this young person walked by. I don't know, it's like somebody working at a storefront said, hi, beautiful. And I said, oh my God, because I had been suicidal. I was having ideation. And I said, oh my God, maybe I died and went to heaven. And I just kept walking, and it was fine. I said, thank God. Ever since then, I said, thank God for Provincetown. I've been back, I've gone to support group meetings, and we're here. It's just a wonderful town. It's just special. So that's my story.
I mean, we all can come here and really be ourselves.
Yes.
Where do you two live?
We live in Marlborough, Mass. And the first time coming here was, pretty magical. I mean, I kind of knew who I was. So I had no shyness of wearing outfits or being out in public. Because I had been transitioning even well before I was starting my hormones.
You were already Julie full-time at that point.
Yep. And I came out to Laura in 2017. And I went to a place called my changing room to figure out where I was on the spectrum as as far as it's just me, even though years before, decades before, I kind of knew. But really wanted to have kids with Laura, wanted to have, you know, that life that a man and woman share, you know, and, you know, bring up their kids. And it didn't kind of turn out that way, but it's all right. It's for the better, I think, because it brings us closer together, you know, and it's hard with family right now, for both sides. And, you know, leaving here after I arrived the first time, I really didn't want to leave, because this is who I was, and these are the people I wanted to be with, you know. So it was kind of magical this time.
Felt like home.
Yeah.
And when you do go home, are you able to fully express who you are there?
Oh yeah, at work or out in public. Oh yeah. I'm a full-time woman. I've been on homo since 2018 and had my surgery, so I just wanted to let the community know here that, you know, we're good people. You know, we're very friendly, and you know, it's like I'm still the same person on the inside, even though I've changed on the outside. And you know, my wife Laura is very accepting and supportive. And
can I tell the story
Yeah,
of how
sure.
you came out to me? It was right before Christmas 2017, and Julie told me that she wanted to go down this road and become Julie. But she gave me a choice. She said I could allow her to go down this road and become Julie, or I could say, no, I married John. I want you to stay as John.
yeah.
Which I couldn't do that to her because I love her for who she is and not what she is.
Right.
So I've tried to stand by her through all of this. I hope I've done a good job.
Oh, you did a great job.
Thank you. And also, as her wardrobe grows, my wardrobe grows. So short clothes, some clothes.
Oh, that's really beautiful. Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
really, really sweet.
And Julie has always been very accepting of me with my disability.
And my wife is legally blind. Laura has been struggling with that her whole life, and you know, since her surgery in 2011, her eyes has gotten worse. So, but I'm always going to be by her side, and you know, that's just how it's going to be.
Yes.
And now, being from Massachusetts, all three of you, do you get to come out here more than just once a year?
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, we were out here this summer.
Right.
Good. You too, Charlotte?
Yeah, I come down. I like the off season. I can't take the hot, direct sun, but I love the cooler times of year. So I'll come in the fall and the spring. It's just nice. It's pretty crowded in the summer, and people are really, really busy. And those times of year, those off season times, are perfect because then you can like talk to people like you who live here, and or, you know, chit chat with store owners and stuff. They're not all like, not that they are anyway, because they're amazing.
No, but I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
so it's hard during the summer because this place is really hot.
Yeah, this is a great time of year.
Yes.
I would like to come back for Women's Week next year. I got the tail end of it. I said,
Yeah.
oh God, this is so much fun.
It's a good time.
Yeah. So.
Well, thank you all so much for making a couple minutes to share your stories
you.
with me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and have a great time this week.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Who is performing at the Follies? Anybody?
I am.
You are? Thank
Yes.
you.
Oh,
I
nice.
love the Follies. Yes.
Excellent.
I just love the town, and I want to say, well, hey, Provincetown.
I'm going to be in the fashion show with a couple of outfits. So.
Excellent. Gorgeous. Have fun.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and welcome. It warms my heart to hear that everybody feels at home here, because you know this is home for me, and
Don't you wouldn't? It's like wonderful. It's great.
this is what we want it to feel like.
Yeah.
It's really, yeah.
We'll see you guys
Thank you.
soon.
Thank you for being interested.
Thanks, guys.
weird way, and then Padme was a real person. Back to you.
So everybody get tickets to the Follies tonight. All of the proceeds and tips will go to a local nonprofit of the Fantasia Fair committee's choosing.
Love that.
I know it's going to be a good time. Are you going? You have to go.
Tonight? Yeah. I have a little birthday dinner.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Please welcome back to the show our friend Jeremy Hobson.
Hello.
Fresh back from Urbana.
Urbana, Illinois, my hometown.
When did you get home?
Last night, yesterday afternoon, yeah.
The first show was great.
Thank you.
I love that you picked your original town to go back to.
Well, this is basically a startup company. This show I have no distributor. I'm doing it myself. We have sold it to over 500 public radio stations around the country, but I needed a host station to get it up to the satellite so that they can take it live, as opposed to me doing a taped show that can just go up on the internet and that's easy to take down. I needed a satellite subscription. It costs $20,000. Unless you go to a station that already has one, and then I pay $35 per quarter hour to get that show up to the air. Onto the air. So, I've had a long relationship with the station there, WILL, Illinois Public Media, and I reached out to them a couple months ago and said, "Hey, would you like to, could we use you to get it up to the satellite, and also can I do the first show from there?" Which was great because I worked there when I was. I actually hosted a show there when I was 9 years old, but I also worked there in college at the University of Illinois, where I started my college career.
I wish we had audio of you at 9.
There is audio, and
we'll find it. Next time you're on, we're going to have it.
Right.
You posted a picture of you in that studio. Is that the same studio you ended up filming from?
That studio. So there was a studio that I worked in when I was 17, and maybe even 16. That was right next to the studio where I did the show. Okay. I went back in and took a picture, 20, however many years later, and it didn't, I definitely have aged over the last 20 years.
Did that kind of feel like a full circle moment?
The whole thing did. I did an event there the night before the show in front of a crowd. They interviewed me about the middle, and my dad was in the crowd. My childhood best friend's mom was in the crowd. My high school computer science teacher was in the crowd. It was just really, it was emotional to be there to do the show from there. But it makes so much sense because, in fact, if I go back to my upbringing and where I came from, that is the voice that I, in 22 years in national media, know is missing. We don't hear from people like that.
Right.
And so I wanted to bring those voices forward, and that's why I did it from there.
Especially being the coastal elites that we are, I feel like I feel like both are people with differing opinions, and especially based on your locale, you kind of villainize the other. Is kind of the goal of the show to kind of show that these people aren't villains. They're just people trying to fight for what they believe in and what they think is best for them.
Yeah, I think one of the ideas here is that the national media often, when it does actually go out into the middle of the country, and I'm talking anything west of the Hudson River, out to California, there's a huge amount of this country that really doesn't have any voice in the media. And when people do go, maybe they pop into a diner, before the Iowa caucuses, and it's almost like they're going to the zoo. Right. And it's I don't want to treat people like that, because that's not the way that people are in the middle of the country. They're not just these idiots that don't know anything about anything. They're living their lives. They're Americans. They're actually probably a lot more similar to us than we realize, than the people on the coast often realize, and vice versa, by the way. So I want to have a national conversation where we, don't judge people, don't condescend, and treat everybody, equally and with respect, and allow people to disagree about things. I think the idea that we are moving into these polar extremes, especially in our media, is very bad for everybody. And why don't we have a conversation that allows anybody in?
What do you feel like you learned from that first show?
We got way more calls than I was expecting. So we had 12 phone lines and 2 call screeners that I brought there. We had 12 phone lines. They were all completely busy the entire time. And within 20 minutes of the show, our voicemail box filled up with 66 messages. And then so we were getting about 10 per minute from around the country. It was I went back and listened to them in the last couple of days, and it's I'm Bob in Tennessee. I'm Dan in Oklahoma. Hi, I'm calling from Denver. I'm calling from North Carolina. I'm calling from Southern California. We were live in LA at 6 p.m. Pacific, which is drive time there. So there were tons of calls. There were a lot of people that were calling and saying that that democracy was the most important issue to them, because we had asked people, what's the most important issue to you? A lot of people said that. A lot of people said abortion. Some people said inflation. But it was just like wide range of calls. That was surprising to me.
And you picked Fort Myers for number 2.
Yeah, so I'm doing 4 live specials around the election. So the first one was in Urbana, Illinois. The second one is in Fort Myers. The third is in Kansas City, and the fourth is in Phoenix. I'm trying to stretch the definition of middle as much as I possibly can. Look, people have asked me about Fort Myers. First of all, because this is a startup, again, I needed partners, and I know the head of the station in Fort Myers. I talked to him very early on, and he said, we'd love to have you down here and have you do a show from here. Fort Myers is filled with Midwest transplants, retirees, people that have this is where people from Chicago, Ohio go to vacation. In fact, you're probably more likely to see an Ohio State flag in Fort Myers than a Florida flag in Fort Myers. So that's part of it. But also, if you think about the premise is let's elevate the voices of people who don't have a voice in our media. Can you think of the last time you saw somebody in Fort Myers or the southwest part of Florida? We're not talking Miami, but Southwest Florida on the national media, it doesn't happen. So I think that, it works for the middle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you think, because of what's recently happened in Fort Myers around the hurricane, do you think their most important issues might have changed in the meantime?
Potentially, and I hope we find that out. So we actually picked Fort Myers before the hurricane, and we picked our topic for the show, which is how is the changing climate affecting you, and what do you want the government to do about it before the hurricane? Thankfully, they got through it okay. They have like a fortress of a building, and so we're still going to do it. But yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to hear, how things have changed down there since the storm. But also, I think it'll be interesting to we have one guest in each place in the place, like from the place. So in Fort Myers, we have this 20-year meteorologist on the ABC channel is going to be with me in the studio. I think it'll be really interesting to hear how he reacts when somebody calls in from, the desert Southwest and says, we've been in a drought for a really long time. Or somebody calls in from the upper Midwest and says, I don't see the effects of climate change here, and I don't think we should be spending any money on it. I think it'll be very interesting to see how that conversation takes place.
Right. I found it interesting that you said one of the most important issues is democracy. And I feel like that is an issue that no matter where you kind of sit on the political spectrum, you think democracy is important, but there's different angles people are approaching it from. Like where I feel like people on the right are kind of viewing it from like voter fraud, things like that. People on the right might have think the last election was stolen, where we're looking at it from an equally yet opposite direction. Do you think there's a place that we could all meet in the middle and decide what is important about democracy?
Look, I think, we know, and we should say that, President Biden won the election. There is very little evidence of voter fraud in every election, very little, if any. That being said, I think that one view we will probably hear from people that are more conservative when we talk about democracy is, well, the system worked last time. They tried to do that on January 6th and they weren't able to, and we still did the transfer of power. So what's the big deal? That is I think the tension right now is if you watch Fox News all day, you will not see, they're not covering January 6th like that. If you watch MSNBC all day, it's all you hear. So so different people are coming at it with, this is a real threat, or why are they talking about this? I'm worried about the gas prices right now.
Right. That was something when I was listening to the first one. People do tend to, act selfishly in a voting booth. So it's like, what's most important to me, that's what I'm going to vote on. Did you feel like that's what a lot of people were saying?
Interestingly, not so much in the first show, but I will say, it was a Democratic strategist, James Carville, who said it's the economy, stupid. And I do think, that is the thing. You were just talking about affordable housing. That is the issue that hits us very hard here.
Right.
In the Midwest, you might be driving 60 miles every single day to get to your job, because that's just the way that things are, things are farther away from each other. And when the gas price goes up and your salary is $35,000 a year, that's a big deal.
Right.
And you basically probably want to I just want to have anybody in there who's going to make it better for me.
Right.
So I think, yes, I think people do think selfishly, and that's politics. That's how it works.
And that's what we get to do here.
Yeah.
I'm American. I can think of only myself if I want to.
Right.
I just think it's a really noble mission that you're trying to accomplish with this, like letting people call in and bringing in voices from the middle, whatever the definition of the middle is. So thank you. I thought it was really cool.
Thank you. Well, it's a 4-episode specials, and then I'm going to go on a hunt for funding to make this a weekly regular show next year.
Awesome.
I love that. I mean, from what I hear, people are loving it, and I hope you won't have a problem doing that.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
It's live Wednesdays at 9 Eastern time.
Yes, and here we've gotten basically all the coastal stations, and here it is airing on WCAI on the Cape and Islands, and WGBH Boston is also airing the show. So yeah, it's great.
Also, wherever you find your podcasts.
Or wherever you find your podcast. You go subscribe to The Middle podcast, The Middle with Jeremy Hobson, on any podcast app.
Your 4th show will be after the election.
It's the day after the election.
Is that where you're going to mostly be discussing the results and things
Yeah,
like that?
I think it'll be what do you think of what happened and what does it mean for the country? We were sort of trying to plan out all 4 shows and like, well, what should we talk about in the last one? And somebody said, well, it's the day after the election. Like, what else are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
We're just going to talk about what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it'll be very interesting the day after the election, not to hear from a bunch of pundits about what happened, but to hear from actual people about what happened and what they think about it.
Right.
I'm calling into that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've said
just call
we will let one coastal call in per hour. Maybe 2 if there's a ton of calls, but okay,
Right.
maybe it'll be that one.
Where are you recording the 4th one from?
Phoenix.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
And then I'll be back here the next day.
Okay.
If all goes as planned. Yeah.
Nice. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you. It's great to be on this show.
Safe travels.
Happy birthday, Harrison.
Thank you. Thanks for the cookies.
You're welcome.
Cookies.
Yeah. We'll eat them up right after.
Yeah. I think that's our show.
Yeah. Thank you for Jeremy and the ladies of Fantasia Fair for sitting down with us.
Weekend.
Yes. Thank you to all of our viewers and our sponsors.
The Crown and Anchor, the Provincetown Brewing Company, Be Well Cannabis Dispensary, The Red Inn, Cafe Heaven, the Adam Howard Metal Workshop at 3 Bradford Street, ProjectValorSelling.org,
Yeah.
and viewers like yourself.
Yeah. And thanks for waking up in Provincetown.
Wherever you are.
We'll see you next Friday.
Good morning, everybody. Wake up.